Welcome to the Bryan Health Podcast. I'm Caitlin White, and today we are talking about healthy eating with Chef Nazim Khan, the executive chef at Bryan Medical Center. Now, Chef, typically when we think of hospital food, some people might think it's bland or boring, but tell us some of the things you've done at Bryan to promote healthy, delicious food in the cafeterias.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, hospital food people usually think is a bland and boring food. Little background of me, I came from a hotel background, so it's a Marriott and Hilton, and also I also work in a luxury brand like Ritz-Carlton, Curio brand for Hilton, and New York City. All those fine-tuned food I exercise pretty much every day when I was in hotels. So when I moved into the hospital care, and when you learn from a master to do the right thing, all the master chefs and stuff like that, you cannot just take a shortcut. So when I take this challenge as a hospital food, I said, okay, I cannot compromise with the ingredients. So ingredients got to be handpicked, good one. And also, I don't like to use too many dry spices. If your products are unique and good quality product, you don't really cover up with the spices. So I, cut down all our dry parsley, dry cilantro, dry chive, and all those things. I said we can get everything fresh. So why we're not chopping a fresh herbs, not using the dry herbs? So let's start using the fresh herbs that enhance the flavor, and also we get our natural oil and flavor from it. So we start working towards that, and then hospital usually do like all frozen product, comes in and you just heat and serve, that kind of cafeteria. And for the dietetic perspective, thought process that, hey, patients, we have to be very careful, so keep it pretty much clean and blend so that we don't have to worry about it. But these days, everybody's foodie, right? So we need to make sure that they're enjoying what we are supporting them. We are not using like 40 different type of ingredients, but we are using a 4 to 5 different ingredients, but they're all buzzed with the flavor. So it's like real, good, clean, and flavorful food. So that's what I have changed. So all the soup that we do it from scratch now instead of buying a frozen one, because frozen one has lots of salt, additives, and all those things. But if you make it from scratch, then you don't have to do it. I had to create a HACCP plan for the health department because I make my own soup, and also I bag them, cryovac freeze, so that way they can pull and heat up. So I had to create a HACCP plan for them. So these are the things that sets a different tone than any other hospital, or you can have a gourmet meal if your chef choose to. And everybody like to see chef in actions, doing a lot of new food, new ideas, new thought process. And cooking from scratch is the key, and using the fresh ingredients is the key. That will make the difference than anybody else.
Now, you rolled out plant-based food stations in the Bryan Health cafeterias. How did you get people to try that? I mean, what were some of the reactions?
I came from, actually, I'm born and raised in Bangladesh. It's a poor country, but it's still, I was a city boy. I was in the capital city in Dhaka. But one of my teacher in his school always used to say that, hey, lentil is the goat meat for the poor people. So in the beginning, I did not really pay attention because goat meat is very expensive, more than a beef in Bangladesh or India and other places. I said, why he's saying lentil is more, I mean, that's a poor man goat meat. It's a lentil. But then throughout, when I grow up, then I realized that it's a great protein source. And that's why my teacher was saying, okay, that's the goat meat for poor people. And then throughout my work culture, even I work in a high-end hotels and stuff in New York City, other places. Anytime somebody come for a vegetarian meal or anybody is vegetarian, they just throw a pasta and tomato sauce. Pasta and tomato sauce don't have enough protein. So why we are just giving just a tomato sauce and a pasta? Even it's a high-end restaurant, even in a high-end hotels. Then I realized that, okay, we have lots of different type of veggie option, lentil option, legume options. Why we're not putting a good flavor profile, twist to it, and serve to our customer. And then, I'm like really into plant-based. Okay, let's do this. Let's use lentil, all kinds of lentil. You make it a burger patty out of it. All lentil, you make it like we do called veggie kofta, lentil kofta. And lentil kofta is an Indian style. We make tikka masala sauce, beautiful basmati rice, and with the kofta, they love it. So instead of like beef or chicken or other protein, we use completely bean and lentil. and potato, just bind it. So when we rolled our plant-based stations in a cafeteria, so first of all, we live in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's a meat and potato country, right? Everybody, even my director says, chef, you think they're gonna eat, they're gonna like this? I said, wait, let's see. First we need to try, and then if they don't like it, we can always change. And he was a big fan of that. And then I said, okay, let's do it. So when I start 5 days with the 5 plant-based option meal, and I was standing and I was explaining the food, and I said, try it first. Then if you don't like it, then you don't have to eat it. I will buy you another lunch. So then people start loving it because it's chef so flavorful and so filler. Why would like falafel with the tzatziki sauce and pita bread and nice cucumber and tomato salad? It's a huge meal with chickpea just grounded up and just deep fried, right? That's a falafel. So they love those things. Then I do like taco tostadas. Taco tostadas is just a tostada shell, and then with our plant-based protein, we make it with Mexican spices. Then guacamole, sour cream, corn, and bean salsa goes on top of that beautiful tostadas. So they love that one too. So we always have a huge line for that. When I rolled it in the beginning couple of days, they just need to get into it, and now everybody love it. And my plant base is very successful. Also, I was got recognized from Food Service Director magazine, Food Management magazine, and also I got recognized for my plant-based service internationally from World Chef Associations in Paris. Their November edition, they also write what a great job I'm doing with the plant-based, serving in a hospital.
Part of your mission is really promoting shopping and buying local. Tell us a bit about not only the health, but the community benefits from eating locally grown produce.
Yeah. First of all, we need to see where the food coming from, right? Working with Chef George McNeil, certified master chef in New York City, also chef, certified master chef, Chef Jack. I always seen them, they're very particular about their product line. If microgreens got to be exactly like that. If I ask you to get the fish, it's got to look like that. And when you work with those talented chefs and learn from it and work with them side by side, you always try to pick the best. In the beginning, I already talked about it. So, and locally grown, like food to tables, tables, farms to table is a huge thing for Hilton and Marriott. And farms to table, we already was using 50-mile radius, whoever has the farm, we're using all the fresh ingredients. So I got used to locally resourced food. So when I came to Bryan Health, we are all commercially bought product through Cisco or US Food. But then I said, we have a farmers, of course, winter time we're not doing anything, but in the summertime they have plenty of product that we can buy locally. And our cheese is great, local cheese. And also I visited several farms. Then I become a Nebraska Food Council member and connected with all the farmers. And then is get to see those products grown and so refreshing and packed with the macronutrients that you're getting from locally resourced food, but anything that you're buying like from different places, but that has a preservative, the way they keep it is not like fresh and crisp the way you want it, but locally food will do that. And at the same time, it's supporting your local farmers, so that means it helps you, your local community economics is going to grow up better too. So you're supporting each other and grow from there. And also I do a farmer's market demo too, so that way I can pick a farmer, say that, hey, you can buy this zucchini, you just don't have only one way to eat zucchini. You got thousands ways to eat zucchini. So you can transform them this way and that way. So that way people get educated too, and then you build a great community. All those things happen, when you buy local, when you support local, and you get your local food, and at the same time it's a great tasty, and how they are growing.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a farmer's market girl myself, so I agree with you on that one. For the rest of us non-chefs, though, cooking can be really intimidating and time-consuming. What are some tips you have to make meal prep easier and more enjoyable?
Okay. I always tell even my cook or any friends, family, I always tell people, as a chef, we don't build rocket. We cannot actually build a rocket. So we just cook food. Key ingredients to become a good cook or good chef, you need to have a good planning and organizational skill. So in French word, they call it mise en place. Mise en place means everything in place. So what does that tell you? If you're making a chicken noodle soup, you're gonna need chicken, you're gonna need noodle, you're gonna need celery, carrots, onion, little garlic, fresh parsley, all those things, and water. Everything's got to be in front of you, organized before you start your chicken noodle soup. So if you start and things are not in front of you organizedly, then you're just going to run around like chicken with the head cut off and then looking for stuff, and then you cannot find it, get frustrated, and then you're not going to really enjoy the meal. So first, you plan the menu, and then okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to need, and this is what is going to happen. Same thing like planning in your like daily meal, weekly meal plan, and all those things. If you organize well, and then if you create a shopping list, and then if you go to a grocery, so you buy that exactly what you plan on the menu, right? If you don't plan, then you go, oh, I like this tomato, let me buy that. I like this zucchini, let me buy that. Then your fridge is full, but then you don't know what you're making with that. Then it's sitting and going bad, and you're throwing it into the trash. So that is the no-no. So you need to organize your planning menu, and then you need to organize your shopping list, shopping cart, get it organized, cook it, and then when is your cooler empty, then you go back to do these things again. And couple of cooking tips that, food safety is very first we need to remember. That means hot food we have to eat hot or cook hot, keep it hot, or cold food we have to keep it cold below 40-degree temperature. Hot food 135 degree Fahrenheit temperature. Chicken 165 above Fahrenheit, so it's safe to eat. So those the key ingredients you need to know. And couple of things I like, anything that you cook or finish your meal with Montier, some good local butter, that will help, nice flavor. I like lemon zest a lot. So, you always can zest a lemon and finish up your salad or salad dressing, or even in a sauce. And then clean, organized kitchen that I always tell people, and that will make your life easier and enjoyable. And another things I always tell people, like, have your kids, have your spouse or, significant other, cook it together, have fun, and then interact. And kids don't like to eat veggies. But if you bring them in your cooking, like making a nice pizza, have them to add their own choice of veggies. Have them to create a beautiful pizza design on top of that with their veggies. So these are the things is family cooking together is always enjoyable. Always you will like it. And then if something goes wrong, then you learn from it and then you fix it again in the right way.
Well, it's always great to get some meal tips. I'll definitely be trying some of these out at home. And that wraps up this episode of the Bryan Health Podcast. Head on over to our website at bryanhealth.org for more information and to get connected with one of our providers. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast and all of the other Bryan Health podcasts. I'm Caitlin White. Stay well.